Say, my Lord of Libs, my troubles with no words, speak to us now.
I think this needs to be said at the beginning because this is really important. My candidate lost. Donald Trump won. I congratulate Donald Trump and I wish him the best. I accept the results. Kamala Harris will come out today and publicly accept the results, publicly concede, and publicly congratulate Donald Trump. We need to get back to that in this country and get away from what we've been living in these past 4 years with a former president who never did that.
It was a complete tsunami, just a total electoral bloodbath, which is why it's such a scandal that Kamala Harris would not concede last night when there was absolutely no path to victory for her whatsoever. And it was sad that she wouldn't even come out and address her supporters. She proved that she's not capable of presidential leadership. She sent out her campaign flack, much as Hillary Clinton did in 2016, when she also refused to concede the election, even when it was clear that she had lost. So I totally agree with Joe. I think it's very important that we get back to accepting the results of elections that are transparent, that are conducted efficiently. I thought it was unfortunate when Al Gore and the Democrats did not concede the 2000 election. I thought it was unfortunate when Hillary didn't concede the 2016 election. I thought it was unfortunate when Stacey Abrams in Georgia didn't concede her election in the governor's race.
Michael,
and I thought it was really scandalous.
What about 2020, my friend?
Oh, well,
Michael?
Yes, no, that's a good point, Joe. No, yeah, I'm happy to address it. I think it's a good point. I think last night what you saw was a great vindication of how the American people react when elections are conducted efficiently and clearly and fairly and without changing all the rules in the weeks before the election and without violating the state constitution, as in the case of Pennsylvania in 2020. It was so clear. You had a really fair fight here, and Trump absolutely mopped the floor with Kamala Harris and the Democrats.
Normal, they eat, they sleep, they shit, they love, they are heartbroken.
How do you, just if you know, okay. I guess my question, if anybody wants to answer it, is, what do you mean by normal? I guess that's the real question. To say transgenderism is normal seems to undercut the transgender ideology. Because if you look like you're a man, and then you go in, as maybe say at a young age, encouraged by your teachers, and you're told that you have to have invasive surgical procedures to castrate yourself, to remove parts of your body, to advance bone disease, to increase your likelihood of anxiety and stress and suicidality, that seems extraordinary. That seems at the very least like something that we would call abnormal.
Mamma mia!
I just wonder what is even meant by that. Furthermore, I guess I would ask, what is even meant by a transgender person? My argument, and the argument of conservatives, as far as I can tell, is not that transgender people are bad. It's that there is no such thing as a transgender person, because transgenderism is a false anthropology that gets a fundamental aspect of human nature wrong. Transgenderism says that one's body has nothing to do with one's identity. This is a novel idea. No people have ever really believed this for human history. And there doesn't seem to be much evidence for it. So I guess the question that I would raise is, on what basis are we now all to throw out our previous beliefs? Biology, anthropology, philosophy, all traditional religion. On what basis are we to be demanded that we throw all of that out the window and believe that a man could really become a woman and that it is positively good to castrate a little boy? I don't really see that. On what basis are we told that we have to accept the view that a little girl should be forced to change in a public pool dressing room in front of a giant hairy man who pretends to be a woman? On what basis are we to be forced to believe that women are not entitled to their own sports leagues, the women are not entitled to their own spaces, the women are not entitled to any of the rights that they've fought for or have been granted naturally? It all sounds well and good when you say, be nice to the poor transgender people, but nobody's suggesting being cruel to anyone. We're asking what it even means to be transgender. And I think it's very telling that the young woman who made her emotional plea against all of the conservatives, those mean conservatives who believe what everyone else has believed about human beings for all of history, I think it's very telling that she ran away before she could answer any of those questions.
Here comes the daylight, for he shall destroy you.
Before I came to this event, I actually did a lot of research on you as a person. I was personally wondering where your film career went, because among the research I did on you, I found a sweet little student film you made about 12 years ago called House of Shades, where you engage with homosexual relations with another man, showing yourself naked in bed with another man.
Excuse me, I think that character was bisexual.
Where does... Oh,
Mamma mia!
Wonderful. I was wondering, where does homosexuality and homosexuals like yourself find themselves in the new America you wish to build?
I think you slipped something in there. There was a little...
But where, because you mentioned LGBTQ people, but you oftentimes just focus on transgender people. There's 3 other letters in that acronym, all being some sort of like gay, homosexual. Just wondering where you find, again, homosexuality, which you may or may not find yourself a part of.
Yeah, wait, hold on. You keep slipping that in there. Hold on. You understand, acting is where you play pretend, right?
Yeah.
There was one time, as an actor, I was in a TV show where I played the guy who blew up the Hindenburg. But I did not blow up the Hindenburg.
Yeah. Where do you find homosexuals or homosexuality in this new America that you see yourself?
Well, what you do, I mean, putting your jokes aside, you do make a good point, which is that you can't neatly separate the L from the G, from the B, from the T, because it all shares the same anthropology, which is that men and women are basically the same. And it actually goes deeper even than the LGBT movement or the transgender movement now. I think it goes back to feminism, which makes much the same claim. People either misunderstood me or just believed the lying media that defamed me in many cases. But when one says transgenderism ought to be eradicated from public life entirely, the whole preposterous ideology at every level, or something thereabouts, one is obviously speaking, as I just said, about an ideology. And the reason it has to be eradicated is because it posits a false view of human nature. It just doesn't describe the truth. Whereas when you describe something like homosexuality, by which I assume you mean, a couple of fellas going, or a couple of ladies going and playing basketball together, or something. I don't know, whatever, the 2 things that they do. You're talking about behaviors among people that's rather different than an ideology, right? You're not talking about a competing conception of human nature exactly. You're not talking about a competing conception of the relation between the body and the soul. You're not talking about castrating little kids. You're just saying that, some guys like dancing the YMCA outside of a Trump rally. At a Trump rally, it's completely straight, but outside of a Trump rally, it's a little bit more suspect. And so that's what you're saying. And so I don't know. I mean, what would happen with that? I guess, I don't know, it would be treated the way it's always been treated. It's just, it's like a little bit eccentric.
Yes,